Good morning. This is video journal number 4 for module 1. The video journal question is, please dig into your interview with your media salesperson and connect his or her responses to the points of the ASCOP method. Do you observe the points of the method in use with your interviewee? I had the opportunity to interview John Olszewski, who works for WSJS Sports, and he's one of their sales persons there. Now, as John and I interviewed, we did interview in Kernersville, and we did it under a rather light setting. We did it at a bar, and we decided to just, have a beer and relax and talk a little bit about sales. Just in speaking with John, as I observed his body language, part of the ASCOP system that I saw in use, just observing him as I interviewed him, was his attitude, which is probably one of the most important points of the ASCOP method. You have to have the desire and motivation to be successful in what it is that you're doing. And I believe he had proper attitude. He seemed very upbeat, very engaged, very excited to talk about what it is that he did. And also the other thing that I noticed as I interviewed him was his knowledge of the products there at WSJS. He was able to run down many of the products that they had, how they used them, various ways in which he was creative and doing deals with various potential clients. And he was very, informative about how you have to be prepared to solve some clients' problems whenever they have issues. And I also think he showed a little bit of emotional intelligence with me, because he was concerned about what it is that I had to do. He was like, well, what is it that you have to do? How do you have to get this done? Well, okay, well, cool. How can I help you? I remember a long time ago having to go through school. I don't think we had to do that, is some of the things that he said, but he said, hey, I'm willing to help you whatever I can to get you through it and help you to do well. He said, I'm with that. So, to me, that was some serious emotional intelligence there. So it says, then the question, where or how do his or her answers to your questions show the method? Well, I also put a little bit of this in my paper as well. He did say you had to have a good attitude if you're going to be in sales media or a media salesperson. So with you having a good attitude, of course, that is part of the ASCOP method. He also said you had to know your product and you had to have passion for your product. And of course, he showed that as well. Then, of course, he said you must always be prepared. You don't know what's going to come up. You don't know what's going to happen. So you have to be prepared with your attitude, your knowledge, and know your presentation, know your product. So his answers were pretty much in line with the ASCOP model. And he said, everything, and which we've all heard many a times when it comes to sales is all about the numbers. You may make 30 calls and hopefully you'll get one, or maybe you make 30 calls. Hopefully you'll get 5 interviews, and out of that 5 contacts, there'll be one person who you can actually sell to. So, again, you can't give up. You have to be persistent in that area. He did mention that. And, as you go along, it's very important to build relationships. That was something also very important and that he wanted to include in his answers. So those are some of the ways that he used the ASCOP method to answer the questions that I was asking him. And it turned out to be a pretty fun interview, and hopefully the paper, which is project number 1, will go into some of that detail. So thank you for listening, Miss Amy Davis Moore, this morning, and we will speak with you soon.